Brad DeRoche. Welcome to my series on guitar fundamentals. This is lesson number 21 on ascending slurs, or hammer-ons as they're often called. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on the techniques involved in producing a good clean sound with ascending slurs or hammer-ons, and also finding ways to make us most efficient when we do it, most effective. So to start with, we're going to be using pages 16 through 21 in the handouts. And the first page looks like this. It's just called Slurs. All right, so that's the focus of our material today from the packet. So let's dig into the issues that come up when we're trying to produce a good quality slur in the left hand. To begin with, we have to make sure that we have good hand position. All the things that we talked about in the previous lessons on left hand positioning and posture and movement apply here. So we want to make sure to start with that the plane of the knuckles here is above the plane of the strings. So when you look at it from this perspective, if this was the neck, the fingerboard, we want to make sure that the knuckle joint here is above the neck. So when our hand is relaxed, the fingers are just above the strings, and the movement to play a note or a slur is to simply push down. So we're here and we push down. What we don't want to have is for our fingers to be extended to start with, to have to play like this, which many people often do, maybe not this drastically, but they start here and then they move from the knuckle middle joint here rather than from the knuckle joint. So all that was discussed in previous lessons, but I just wanted to recap it really quick to make sure that you have good left hand posture and positioning. So remember to start here with the knuckle joint being above the strings. It's just easier to see from this than it is here. So I start here. Make sure that you keep the little finger side parallel to the neck, same as the first finger side, and not out here like this. Then we want to make sure when we're playing, when we're moving the fingers onto the string, that we land right on the tip of the finger. So once again, back to this model here, I want to make sure I land on the tip of the finger, not the pad part of the finger when we play. Okay? So staying on the tip of the finger, getting next to the fret wire and all of that. So those are the basic mechanics of the left hand movement, which we've already discussed. But one of the things that's going to be new for slurs or hammer-ons is the hammering motion itself when we come down onto the string. And for that we require velocity. Just like hammering a nail into a board. When we're doing that, when we're hammering a nail into a board, the most effective means to do that is to make sure you have a really good velocity, so when you hit the nail there's a lot of power. But what we don't really need is strength. So that's very different. So if I move really slowly and once I get to the string I start pushing really hard, that's not effective. What is effective is a very fast hammering motion. So again, velocity counts here. So when we're doing this, we have to make sure we have good velocity. So a very quick movement. And once the finger moves, it accelerates and lands very firmly. All right? So you don't have to press overly hard once you land, but you have to use a lot of velocity to hit the string to start with. So let's just say those are the basic fundamentals of playing. Now let's take a look at it in an exercise from the page. So when we look at this page here, page 16, we're going to start with this two note groups right here, and over here there's a series of numbers. Now the numbers refer to left hand fingers. 0 is an open string, a 0 finger. But 1 would be first finger, 2 would be second finger, 3 is third, 4 is fourth. Okay? So when you see these, when you see, for instance, 0, 1 together here, 0, 1, that means I'm going to play open string, which has to be plucked with the right hand, and then first finger on that same string. So in all of these exercises, the first note is plucked with the right hand, and then all the notes that come after it, all the fingers, let's say, would have to be achieved through a hammer-on, okay, through a slur. So 0, 1 would be like this. Now, it doesn't have to be first fret. It can be any fret, any string. It's 0, 1 is 0 finger and first finger, or open string and first finger. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Then the next number down is 0, 2. So that would be open and second finger. Then 0, 3. And finally 0, 4. Now, we talked about this a bit before in a previous lesson, but let's just kind of recap it really quick. What we're trying to do is to make sure we have good hand position and posture, and the movement generates from the knuckle joint way back here, and the movement has to be very rapid so we get good velocity, so we have a good strong hammering motion when we hit the string. And once we do hit the string, we make sure that we stay there firmly. We don't want to let go, otherwise the string will die. Okay, so those ones are the first ones down that first column there. Next to it, in the same category, there are 2-note groups ascending. We have the numbers 1, 2. So I would start with first finger on the string, pluck that one, and then hammer the second finger. So pluck, hammer, or slur. That's a 1, 2 slur, fingers 1 and 2. Then I would go to the next one, 1, 3. I'm just going down the row, or down the column. And then 1, 4. Okay, hopefully this all makes sense. The next one is 2, 3. So fingers 2 and 3. You'll find this one to be more challenging. The fingers don't like to move in opposite motion like this very well. And 2, 4. And finally 3, 4. That'll be the hardest one for sure, 3, 4. Now I'm trying to make sure I land in the same groove in my fingertip each time. I'm trying to get right next to the fret wire and use the least amount of pressure I can when I'm doing these, but I still have to get enough velocity from my slur to make the note sing when I smack it. Okay, the next row down is 3-note groups. So I'm now looking at 3-note groups here, and this column right here, ascending. We're not going to do the descending ones today. That'll be our next lesson. So 3-note groups. Once again, I'm going to pluck the first note, but then we're going to hammer the next 2 notes in the group. So the first one is 0, 1, 2. So I would do an open string, 0, and then 1 and 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, 0, 1, 3 is the next one. 0, 1, 4. 0, 2, 3. 0, 2, 4. And 0, 3, 4. Okay, I'm sure they make sense to you, but just practice those a few times on each one. And then the next one is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 3, 4. And 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what I recommend for most people is that you take 1 box a day. So for instance, I would take, if it was, let's say I'm starting the practice week. If it was Monday, I might do this box right here, and I would just focus on doing these slurs today. Then the next day I might pick this box, and that could be Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday and so on. So just do like 1 box a day out of these, and they're really, really helpful for the left hand. Now, once you've mastered them in one spot, or you feel like you're getting pretty good at them, they're getting fairly easy, you need to raise the bar a little. And the best way to do that, I would say, would be to try just a couple very simple things to make them more challenging. First off, you could go across the strings. So if I took something like 0, 1, 2 slur, I'm going across the strings. So I'm starting here on the first string, then the second, third, fourth. All right, does that make sense? also go ascending and descending on the string, on the same string with these patterns. So that's another way to get some more mileage out of the same pattern. All right, when you're doing these, make sure that the sound is even with all of your notes. So as you're going through, if you're getting where your plucked note is much louder than your hammer-ons, you got to work more on the velocity here. All right, so make sure they're really even. So if the sound of the hammered notes is too weak, you probably don't have enough velocity. You need to push a little harder to get the notes to really smack them, to get the notes to sing out. Okay? All right, so hopefully this will help you get some really good practice in with the left hand. So just take one box a day on that page 16 and practice that for a couple of minutes, and that should be a really good way to get good at slurs, ascending slurs in the left hand. And then in the next lesson, in number 22, we'll focus on the descending slurs or pull-offs and the mechanics involved in that, and a couple of exercises for those as well. All right, so that's it for today. Hope this helps you a little bit, and enjoy your practice time and go work on those slurs. All right, we'll see you in the next lesson. Cheers.